All right, guys. First off, I want to say this. I want to thank everybody for the kind words from yesterday's video. You know, I gotta I gotta come out straight up and say that my emotional swings are all over the place. I'm a passionate guy. I'm an energetic guy, and when I feel stuff and go through stuff, it's very straight on, right? I like to be in the moment and endure things and feel things the way that I think they should be, pretty straight up, you know, and just acknowledge what is and what I think of things. So I appreciate that. You know, I'm not in a spot where I'm like down in the dumps and I'm worried about my well-being and this and that. You guys don't have to worry about that more than anything. It was an opportunity for me to come out and speak about some problems that I've had and some things that I'm trying to work through, you know. But ultimately it comes down to this: control the controllables and do not control what you can't control, accept what you can't control, and move on with your day. But as you can see by the title of this video, it says breaking news, and this is probably the first time that I've ever clickbaited people, and it's for this main reason. It's because there's not breaking news, right? And why do I say that? Why do I want to talk about this? This is actually gonna be a very short video. It's because as holders of AMC, right, we, the people, the apes, are always hoping for that one magical moment, that one thing that's going to drive the price action to do exactly what we want to see it do. But the truth of the matter is, right, all the research and all the things that we know about this stock are out there at this point, right? And what you have to pay attention to day by day by day is not necessarily the 1 minute candles, which is why I don't stress out over the 1 minute candles. I try to talk about other things on my channel now. I try to focus on fundamental research, on big picture things that are happening within the economy, within the world situation, the world economy, right? It's because of that exact fact. The due diligence is out there, right? The things that we need to know about the stock are out there. The apes are there. The problems that we know and have identified are there. And we can reiterate that and talk about that day by day by day. But I've gotten away from that because I recognize that as a person, there's more room that we can push as individual people to continue to move forward with AMC stock. And it's to not focus on the 1 minute candles as much as we have been, because you know what you hold. That ultimately is what it comes down to. You know what you hold with AMC stock on any given day, right? You're not looking for some sort of freaking miracle piece of DD that's going to change the game. What you have to do is be patient and have conviction in what you know. It comes down to this, right? For me, three main things. Have the shorts cover their positions? Is there still fundamental problems within the stock market, systemic problems within the stock market? And are the apes still here? And for me, all of these questions, right, are very easily answerable. Shorts have not covered their positions. There are still systemic and fundamental problems within the stock market, and the apes are still here, right? That's as simple as it gets. And you can see that by looking at the overall Ortex data. 20.28% current short interest or free float. You can see that the short interest hit a new all-time high not that long ago, right? It hit up to about 21%, dang near that. 103 million shares on loan compared to 85% of the exchange reported data on Ortex, right? You can see that the stock, as we're sitting right now, was a red day. It was down 2.5%. But where are we sitting, right? Where are we ultimately sitting? Smack dab in the middle of this Fibonacci retracement, right? You can see that it's right on the line of this 61.8% retracement, so just a hair beneath that 50% retracement, right? You're just waiting for that next big move up. You're waiting to get a breakout of this long scale sort of downtrend. False breakout right here. Touch points, touch points, touch points, touch points, touch points, right? You can see all the different times that it's tested this. What you're waiting for is the momentum return, right? And I think ultimately this is a mistake that I've made in the past. Looking back on the stock, I remember, and I've gotten critique for this many, many times. I said 48.50 and it's done. You're going to see the next huge swing, the next big move, that three test trend that's played out many, many, many times. And it got what looked to be the beginning of that, right? It pushed up here to about $52.34, which ended up being a false breakout, and it came back down to gravity, right? But where I think my mistake is timing. I think if you look at the cycles of the way that this thing has made its big moves, right? January, June, and how long of a period of time is that? That's about 5 months, right? That's a long period of time, and you had a lot of recharge time between that, right? A lot of false breakouts, a lot of little moves here, little moves there, until ultimately it got that next big move up to $77. And the difference here is just the number of people, and that you had some, not all, right? Some of the shorts cover in a cycle sort of way. And you can see that reflect right here, right? The short interest is at 17%. It dropped down to 11 or 10, 11% or so. And you saw that back here as well in January. 12% short interest dropped down to about 8.5%. And that was off of a very small amount of covering and a lot of interest by the apes, right? The apes control this stock. The apes hold 80% of the float of this stock, according to the latest research and the latest data that's been put out by Adam Aaron. So where my mistake was, I think, was timing. So what am I looking for, right? I think it's probable. I'm not going to say 100%, obviously, but I do think if you're looking in terms of some sort of time frame to expect, you're looking at that November to December sort of time frame, because that does line up with that 5 months out from June. July, August, September, October, November, 5 months, right? So I think that's where a lot of people here including myself, have gotten it wrong. Is we thought that it would happen sooner, the next big push would happen sooner based on the technical setup. But if you were to zoom out and look at this on a daily candle, well, what do you see that's similar? You see this $25 sort of move, you get this bump right here, right? And it lines up pretty damn well with what you're seeing right here. Huge sell-off, bump, nice bump, right? It comes up to $14.40 and it rejected. That was what I would consider the first test of that critical level. So it ultimately came back down, did a little bit of sell-off, little bump, right? And then it got that next big move in about a 5-month time frame or so from January all the way up until that June mark. Now, it is a little less than 5 months, but you get the picture here. You've got very similar sort of setup here with a little more hang, right? It just hung on to that price longer. It had more strength holding that $58, $60 range for a prolonged period of time. But it's a very similar setup. That's where I would consider this to be. This sort of bump, this first sort of test of those old price levels is right here on the chart, what would be about March or so. So what I'm looking for next is something like this, a breakout of this downtrend, right? Ultimately, just as I've drawn up, you want that breakout of the downtrend, and then you want to see it sort of find that continued strength and set those new higher lows until it ultimately comes to what I would consider that May and June timeframe. It gets that continued momentum. And I think that strength is going to come because, historically speaking, later in the winter season of the stock market is typically when you see some more strength come in because less people are going outside, it's not summertime, more liquidity comes into the stock market, that sort of thing. I think we just have to be able to zoom out and recognize that there's not always going to be breaking news coming up on the stock every single day, and that's okay, right? I'm not looking for breaking news every single day because, truth be told, there's not going to be breaking news or breaking DD every single day on the stock. And ultimately, that wears people's mental. We got to be able to recognize that and not obsess over the 1-minute candles, man. I'm telling you, to make this a sustainable effort, for you to be able to hold this stock as you would any other investment, you can't be stressing out over the 1-minute movements. Set some price alerts, right? Set some price alerts, be able to step away and have them go off. And when they go off, admire, right? Take the opportunity to enjoy what's in front of you and then go on with your day, because if it's not at your selling point yet, you just got to keep going on and keeping on, man. That's what I'm telling you. So, short video. I don't have much to say because not much happened with AMC today, but I do want at least a couple days a week give you guys these updates outside of the small scale and large scale economic sort of videos that I'm making, trying to dig into some of the freaking silly chickens out there like like Jim Cramer and Kenny Griffin and freaking David Scott and all these guys, and a lot of the large scale events in the world that are happening. That's kind of what's been going on, right? Not a lot happened this week outside of, if you look at the 1-hour candles, we had a pretty decent sized push here back on the 6th. So that's what we had for the week, man. It wasn't bad. We're setting those higher lows, right? It is trending in the right direction. But ultimately, I stand by the same thing. You want to see a break out of this large scale downtrend that has been in effect for a very long time, right? Touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, false breakout, touch point, touch point. You can see this is still a respected level. Once you get a break out of that, man, that's when the momentum to me is going to come. And then that 48.50 level where you can see that flat top, that's the next point in which you're probably going to see some rejection, some sort of resistance, and then from there, I stand by it. I do think 48.50 is going to be the lights out level, very similar to 14.50. We were early, right? We saw it back here. 14.50, it rejected, and then ultimately it still got that 14.50 break, and that was the big move. That was the move we all waited for. That's the one that's going to bring us to freaking Tendy Town, Chicken Church, Kraken Kingdom, and that's what I've got for this video. So, blah, blah, blah. You know, whole spiel, drop a like, consider subscribing. Do what you want to do, my friends. Catch you in the next one. Much love, light taps, and peace.